Hello, and welcome to ShamrockED, conversations with the Berrien Springs Public Schools Superintendent, Dr. Thomas Bruce. This episode will highlight Berrien Springs Public Schools' One Berrien campaign on staff recognition. Today's guests include Jeff Yauchstetter, Assistant Superintendent for Innovation and Learning, and Gail Fox, Communications Director. And now, here is Berrien Springs Public Schools Superintendent, Dr. Thomas Bruce.
Good afternoon. Here we are, the podcast called ShamrockED. I believe this is our, I'm looking at the paper now. It says season 2, episode 2, but our 5th in consecutive series. Here we go. So I'm Dr. Thomas Scott Bruce, the superintendent here at Berrien Springs Public Schools. And today we're going to talk about One Berrien staff recognition campaign. We've talked a lot as an administrative staff about how do we lift up people that are doing a great job? How do we shine a light on great things that are happening? We're here to build an outstanding culture here at Berrien Springs, and this is one of the things that we're working on. So with me today, I have Mr. Jeff Yauchstetter, and I also have Mrs. Gail Fox. Mr. Yauchstetter, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Jeff Yauchstetter. I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Personalized Learning Innovation. Excited to be here today. I've been told that I have a face for radio, so I'm excited to show that off.
That's awesome. Where have you been? What have you done, Jeff?
Yeah, so in my career, I've been in 3 different school districts. I started in Dowagiac, where I'm alumni of Dowagiac as well. I was there for 4 years before taking a position in Stevensville, Lakeshore, at Lakeshore Public Schools. At Lakeshore, I taught for 10 years. I was in administration for 8 years, 4 as an assistant principal, 4 as a principal. And then I made the wonderful change to come here to Berrien Springs last year. So this is year 2.
And we love having Mr. Yauchstetter here. If you take a look at his coffee mug, it's got at least 3 stickers, one over the top of the next. Right now, it's got a shamrock on the top, which we love. Mrs. Gail Fox, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Gail Fox, and I'm the Director of Communications at Berrien Springs Public Schools. And I love being a shamrock. Prior to my career in education, I was in the business world and did a lot of corporate work, and then came and switched over to education. So I've been in education for 14 years.
So we're going to talk about that just a little bit. I know this is not part of the script, Gail, but Berrien Springs Public Schools was a leader in having a CIO or a Chief Information Officer come in. I want to say that kudos to Mr. Dave Eichberg for that. Being a visionary in a lot of ways, but having that information be a big piece of it. Can you voice a little bit of why you and Mr. Eichberg came to the conclusion that Berrien needed a CIO?
As far as communications goes, we wanted to share a story even more. We had so many good things coming at us, and we had so many stories that was not being told about our school district. And it's so exciting to see how kids and the impact that our staff and kids do together and the work that they do together. And so we felt like we had to grow communications across the district. So we started slow, meaning that we felt like let's take the foundation and let's start sharing stories on social media, the website, and newsletter. And now it's grown. We have so many different communication outlets, and each year we added a different way of communications. And as far as we know, we have a lot of ways that people can hear communications about our school districts and the different stories. We have our website, we have our district newsletter, we have the local newspaper, the Journal Era. We are in there every single week. We also have now the ShamrockED podcast that we added last year. We have social media in many different formats of social media. We also have students sharing our story. So we've had a program where students are actually getting all of the photos, getting all of the media to share that story about the high school, about Sylvester Elementary and Mars Elementary. So we've really grown our program to what it is today. And it's really, really exciting to have students and staff be a part of the works that we do at Berrien Springs Public Schools.
So as you can tell to the community listening, Gail knows her stuff. In recent years, more and more districts have added information officers. Gail has leveled up because she's also a key member at the state level and national level. So that's where a lot of this information comes from. She's plugged in everywhere. Mr. Yauchstetter, I want to go back to you. You have a unique job title here at Berrien also, and I know you probably said it earlier, but could you say it again um, and tell us a little bit, like a couple sentences about what's your focus and what you're working on?
Yeah, so my actual title is Assistant Superintendent of Personalized Learning and Innovation. So it's a unique title because my guess is there's not many people titled in the whole country with that title. And what I love so much about it is it gives me the ability to focus on what we're currently doing and how can we improve what we're doing, and is there a need to change what we're doing. And the whole idea of bringing me in for this role was to have a person that focuses on that. So there's a lot goes on with the school district, especially a school district like our size with all of our on-campus and off-campus programming. But to be able to have somebody that has their singular focus and can work with all stakeholders, all individuals to achieve those goals is important. So that's kind of what our task with right now.
Right. Thank you for saying that. And the reason I asked those two to share that is in that intersection between those two is most districts, if you're in a school district, you know this, but if you're outside school working in a school district, you should know that between 75 and 90% of our budget goes to people and training people and making sure we have the best people. And so, this idea of today's podcast of One Berrien Staff Recognition Campaign is really about highlighting our people. And these two executive level administrators are superb at this. And this is what we want to share today. So, to both of you, can you tell us a little bit about what the One Berrien Staff Recognition Program is about?
Yeah, I'll start. So the Berrien Staff Recognition Program is a district-wide initiative designed to celebrate and acknowledge the exceptional efforts of our Berrien Public Schools employees. They go above and beyond every single day to help our students succeed in a global community. This program is going to be inclusive of everyone that is involved in our system. So it can be our paraprofessionals, our bus drivers, our custodians, our food service workers, our teachers, our support staff, and our secretaries. The whole idea is going to be aimed to foster a culture of appreciation and gratitude by recognizing individuals who consistently go above and beyond to support their students, their colleagues, and the greater school community.
So we're looking for that person that goes above and beyond. Like takes it to the next level, right? That's
Correct.
really what we want for our kids. We want that for our adults as well.
Yeah, we have a high standard to begin with, and that standard is the standard that we go by. But we also recognize that there are staff members that go above and beyond. And I think we recognized it even more this fall when we had students come in and talk to our staff at opening days and talk about their experiences and what they see and how much they appreciate. And they mentioned just about someone from each one of those groups in that conversation. So it's important, to feel valued, to feel that you're seeing them do this work. It's important that we recognize it.
Outstanding. So what was the core inspiration for the creation of this recognition program?
Like we talked about before, we're trying to create a learning environment where both students and staff run to us, where they appreciate and want to come to work every day. Just last night at the board meeting, we had our middle school student body president come in and talked about a conference that she went to called the MASC Middle School Liftoff Conference. And it's unique because she mentioned that one of their goals is to create an environment where students want to be there.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you go back in the day, I think when we were in school, that wasn't the norm. We wanted to be there. We enjoyed it. It was a great experience. And unfortunately, times have changed a little bit, and that's not necessarily the case. And that's not a Berrien Springs thing. That's a global thing. So what we're looking to do is create an environment where people want to run to us, including students and staff. So a recognition program like this is a powerful tool to boost morale, reduce turnover, and prevent burnout amongst staff members. The research has shown us that 56% of people that enjoy coming to work every day are less likely to look for a different job or a different opportunity. 79% of employees who do quit a job cite the lack of appreciation as a reason why. In particular, in schools now, 55% of teachers report burnout,
Mm.
report thinking about quitting the profession. And we see this. We see staff members quitting mid-year nowadays. And that's something that we have to address. We have to think about. We have to create an environment where our staff members want to be here. And this is a way to recognize them for doing that.
That's outstanding. And I love the stats in there. I guess that's part of my left brain, me being a left brain guy, but knowing those stats makes it just kind of makes it more real, like solid, right? Like what are we dealing with here? it may not be the point to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Last year, we started a program called Shamrock Care Partners, where we offer support, social emotional support to any staff member and their family, no matter where they are in the country. Could be grown kids, could be their parents or their in-laws. But we understand that a lot of our staff members have other things going on besides just the job, and we want to be a district that supports them with their family and family matters if we can. Gail, did you have anything to add to that piece?
Part of our mission statement is together inspiring each student to think, learn, achieve, and care in a global community. And I think oftentimes we forget together, and that one variant is being together, and that's like all of our stakeholder groups doing it to educate our kids. And having this program will allow us to see the good that is happening in our classrooms, but recognizing those who have go beyond their call of duty. And I think there, when we had that opening day event and students were sharing, it was so inspiring to hear students talk about the little detailed things that mattered. Like, for example, they talked about how staff members would say, "Hey, how's it going?" or "Good morning, welcome," or just a smile. And those little things really made their days. And I think that not only that you have to go beyond teaching or beyond serving meals or go beyond doing your job, but it's those little things that really affect our kids and our families, because it's the service style of how we go about. And so I think it's just the program is to help recognize those in quiet ways that lead and in big ways that they lead. And I think together, all of us will come to meet our goals and our district goals.
Yeah, it was really wild to me how the students would say, "Hey, even though we're in a bad mood or sleepy or just being a teenager, please reach out to us anyway." And we heard that a couple of times or a few times, which I absolutely loved. So let's get back to the recognition program. Jeff, you said something to the effect of we want to create a culture of where people want to run to, not run away from. How do you think this program will positively impact our staff and the overall culture of Berrien Springs?
Yeah, I think by implementing a program like this, regular recognition and celebrating the exceptional contributions of our staff members, the program will boost morale. It'll create a stronger sense of belonging among the employees, which could contribute to better collaboration, better commitment, and just motivation to be productive and even better retention. The whole idea of appreciating our employees and retaining them. Losing employees, every time you lose an employee, you lose part of your culture because that's gone. And when someone new comes in, you have to help build that culture back in. So having our employees feel valued is very important, trying to keep them here.
I love that point too, because I think all districts felt that. I'll say on the heels of COVID, grass was greener, and a lot of teachers and a lot of staff members moved and even came back again. Um, but they were looking for something, and as Jeff said, we when we lose people, we lose a piece of ourselves. It's so beneficial to our group, our culture, and our students if we can keep people and keep training them up and training them up and create a great family atmosphere. If we can keep that going, we'll be so much stronger. So let's talk about how to get involved, because you talked about, Jeff, I believe it was you talked about, well, this isn't about just teachers. It's about paras. It's about the bus drivers, food prep, and so forth. So who can you nominate?
You can nominate anyone in our district, anyone who works for our district, staff wise. So it could be a secretary, it could be a paraprofessional, it could be a teacher, it could be a support person, a guidance counselor, a custodian, anyone who works for the district that is eligible to be nominated.
So what's the criteria for that?
So the criteria for nominating a staff member, like Gail said, it's open to everyone, but it's going to be based upon some criteria. Exceptional dedication to students by going above and beyond their usual responsibilities that supports them academically, emotionally, or socially. Those that collaborate and work together as a team to create a positive work environment is another way to qualify for the award. Those that work for effective solutions to problems.
Mm,
There's problems every single day that happen when you work with kids. It's going to happen. I promise you that. All right. And what we're looking for is we're looking for those not to be seen as problems, but opportunities for growth. And if we can recognize those staff members that do a great job with that and build that capacity with all of our staff members, that's a positive for us. And really, the last one is just those that demonstrate leadership, professionalism, commitment to Berrien Springs Public Schools. Our mission, like Gail said, was to inspire each student to learn, think, achieve, and care in a global community. That's what we want our staff members to do on a daily basis, and we want to reward those that are doing it exceptionally.
great. And I want to take a slight bird walk for a second. You made me think of something, Jeff, where I was meeting with some administrators at the middle school, I believe, a couple weeks ago, and there was complex situations. And my thing for the district is constant improvement. We're always about reiterations. One iteration leads to number two iteration, to number three iteration. We're constantly trying to improve our processes or how we do things. And in that conversation at the middle school, I was talking about you have to be able to raise your hand and stop the process and say, hey, that did not go well. When the day's over, can we get a couple people together and rehash this or do a postmortem on this topic or this process and figure out how could we do it better next time. And I want people to be able to feel empowered to do that. And it kind of speaks to everything you were talking about, Jeff, about bringing people together, having a better experience for our clientele. We want that constantly improving culture. So I appreciate that.
If you think about it, that's exactly what we expect out of our kids. We expect
Yeah.
them to see
Yeah.
challenges and learning, overcome those to improve, and ultimately, in the end, be a better, productive member of society. If we expect that in our kids, why don't we model that ourselves? And those are the exact kind of people we're looking for to recognize and highlight and show that this is the Shamrock Way. Here's what it means to be a teacher, a parapro, a professional, anyone that works here in our community. This is what we're looking for.
Right on. Couldn't have said it better. Thank you. Gail, so let's say I find somebody like this. They're doing all these things we talked about. What's the process like? How do they nominate somebody?
So we created a form that people will fill out to make sure that they met the rubric of our criteria for the award. So we will advertise in QR code format on our social media pages. We'll have a website page set up where they can fill out a form. We'll put it in the paper with the QR code. So it's anyone so the process for nominating a staff member will be very simple. They fill out this form. And then if nobody has access to, we want to make sure this form is available in paper format too. So in case they have no access to an electronic format, so it will be available to be able to fill out the form to get that completed.
Maybe we should have a pile at the district office with Lori, huh? At the front door.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, definitely.
All right.
But it will be advertised everywhere throughout the school year.
So that brings me to a good follow-up question. So we're not talking about just teachers nominating teachers, or it could be a family or a parent or somebody just interacted with us from the community one day, just had a great experience, and they could fill that out.
Yes, that's correct, Dr. Bruce. Any of our stakeholder groups can fill out the form. We wanted to open it up to students, to families, to a community member, to a business leader, because we feel like part of the award is like recognition of all of the stakeholders saying, hey, this person did a great job, and we recognize that. And so anyone from our community can nominate
And that makes
a staff
sense
member.
because when I came in and transitioned with Mr. Dave Eichberg, one of his big pieces was we need to stay connected to the community. And you do that through the alumni events and a lot of things we do. And you actually reported on it last night at the board meeting. So we want our community members to be part of what we do and help us build this culture that we're building here at Berrien.
Yes.
So when are we launching this thing? I don't know if I've heard a date yet.
We are launching it on October 28th. And we're really excited because we have a number of different ways that we're going to do it. And this award will be picked monthly. So, and I'll have Mr. Yauchstetter talk about that. But we wanted to recognize people throughout the school year, not just one time, but throughout the school year. So we this award is not only like for a 4-week period, it's throughout the school year. So anytime a person wants to nominate somebody, they can do it at any time.
Yeah, and we'll always advertise when those nomination cycles are open. So the first one does open the 28th, and it will end November 18th. And then after that, we'll get our committee will already be set, but we'll get the committee together to review all applications and decide on who's going to be the first winners. And then we're going to be very excited to actually present those first awards. You know, it's going to be something very special. And then just about the first of the month ish, right around there, the rest of the school year, a new cycle will open up. So we're
Great.
going to be recognizing employees all year long. Hallmark loves to have different days and different weeks for different things like staff appreciation or teacher appreciation at a certain time. And we got to get past that. We need to appreciate our employees all the time. So we'll treat them special during that special time, but we're going to create a culture where they're treated special all the time.
Gail, do you remember our speaker from last year about telling our own story? Who was that? What was
Um,
his name? Do you
that
remember?
was Dr. Jamie Vollmer.
Yes.
And he talked about how we each are responsible in sharing our story. And so we want to share your stories about your experience with our staff members. And that's why we want every stakeholder group to be involved in this program.
That sounds really good. Last question. What are our hopes for this program as it grows? How do you think it may evolve?
Yeah. So the plan and the hopes are going to be that we create an environment where we foster the sense of appreciation and belonging amongst all staff. Over time, the program can evolve in several meaningful ways, we believe. Wider participation from students, parents, and staff. Each cycle, I think, will get us more nominations and see the great things that are happening within our schools. Additionally, the program may eventually expand into more specific recognition categories, such as those that are just maybe just innovating in their classroom and how that's happening, those that are mentoring in their classroom and how that's happening, or those that are just leading
I
in
like
general.
I like that a
You know,
lot.
we need to build leading capacity. So as we build this program more, we might be more targeted with what we're looking for. And then along with that, it might come with a different responsibility. You know, someone that might be doing a great job leading, how do we promote and build that leading capacity even more? You know, how do we get them leadership opportunities in the district to contribute? How do we build that capacity there? And then eventually what we'd like to happen is we'd like to take the same format to our offsite division. You know, we have a lot of great things happening around the whole state. And once we get through the cycle a few times and work on any kinks we have with this onsite program, it'd be nice to, as we talk about One Berrien, we are One Berrien and offsites is part of us. So together, how do we move forward? So excited to see how that transitions into something big and beyond just local here in Berrien Springs.
Yeah, appreciate that. Any final words, Gail?
We just want you to be able to hopefully share some of the stories that you experience about our district. And through this program, we'll get to hear some really great stories. So we're really excited for you to be a part of it. And this whole One Berrien campaign is We Are One Berrien.
Thank you. And Mr. Yauchstetter, I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit because you're good at it. A little bit about the type of culture, and we started with this, but what are we trying to build here at Berrien? What kind of culture and workspace and feeling are we trying to build here?
You know, it really goes to the premise of this whole program. Just trying to create a culture where people want to be here. You know, when you feel appreciated and you want to be there, your days are so much better. Your learning experience is so much better. Your life is so much better. You know, and that's what we're looking to do here. You know, I went down to Emmons, Kentucky, visit a school down there. Buddy Berry is a superintendent, and the school model there is school on fire. And it sounds odd because you think on fire, you don't want to be there, but they've created a model where people run to them. And it's evident every single day when you're there, you can see in the people. And we have so many great things that are taking place. And that's why like Dr. Jamie Vollmer was so important last year because even being in the local community, you know, I live right down the road 5 miles and I knew very little about Berrien Springs. All right. And since getting here and seeing all that we have to offer and all the supports that our kids have and our staff members have, they're different than other schools. People have to know about this and we have to put it out there. And that's why Gail is so important, the work that she does to get these stories out. You know, it's easy in the world of social media and news to hear about the bad things. There's so many good things that are happening here. And this is the environment that I chose to want to work in. And it's the environment I want everyone to want to stay in.
Great. Well, we invite everybody to be part of it, and you can do it through the recognition program. I want to thank our visitors today. Thank you very much, Mr. Yauchstetter, Mrs. Fox. Thank you for all you guys do, and let's get this thing fired up. Sounds great.
Thank you for listening to ShamrockED, Conversations with Our Superintendent. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Samsung, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, or our Berrien Springs Public Schools YouTube channel. For more information on Berrien Springs Public Schools, visit homeoftheshamrocks.org or follow us on Facebook and Instagram. If you have any questions you would like to ask Superintendent Dr. Bruce, please email at contactus@homeoftheshamrocks.org. Thank you for joining us on ShamrockED. Together, we are shaping a brighter future for our students. Until next time, keep inspiring and stay connected with the Shamrock community. See you in the next conversation.